Good evening, Patriots. So, whatever happened to the red wave? Political pundits indicated this outcome: inflation and a sitting president with a 41% approval rating. Everybody thought this would result in a reset for any president. Why did the midterm election not reflect this? That's a great question. You know, during his presidency, Barack Obama received a shellacking under very similar circumstances. You know, every conservative political pundit anticipated a red wave. They all predicted a red wave. So what happened? Some of them even called it a tsunami. Let's take a look at just some of the comments before the election.
Now, I can't say for sure where the rumors of the red tsunami started because polls in almost every key race were within the margin of error.
Red wave rising. That is the focus of tonight's angle.
It's going to be a wave election, and you're going to lose the Senate, and I'll bet you $1,000 right now.
The knives are being sharpened right now for Joe Biden.
You know, Democrats are going to get crushed on November 8th because a red wave is coming.
But I'm betting that Joy will learn two new words on Tuesday. It's red wave.
How big could that looming red wave get?
We begin this Sunday morning with expectations of a red wave this Tuesday.
I think this election is going to be a red wave. I think we're going to win.
You know what? I think, your predictions of a red wave are accurate. And the reason I say that is because now even the mainstream media is catching up.
We've been hearing, is it going to be a red wave? Is it going to be a red tsunami? I think it's going to be a red hurricane.
When the red wave comes, and it is coming, Joe Biden's political utility is over.
Are we in for a red wind here or a red wave?
Red wave or red tsunami? What are you feeling today?
I'm feeling red wave.
And don't listen to the lies they're spewing that this could take days or days, to know who won. This is total BS. A wave like this, we should know that night, basically, who won the Senate and the House. Anything that happens Wednesday into Thursday is gravy.
And right out the back door, I've got a tropical storm brewing right now. I think they're saying could be a Category 1 by the end of the day. However, let me tell you what is a storm, that red wave. I'm telling you, if there's any indication based upon what we're seeing this morning, somebody made a surfboard, said the red wave is coming.
So that's just a clip of basically all of Fox News believing that there's going to be a red wave, right? Were they right? No, absolutely not. Why? I think that's the question that everybody is asking. And without violating any of the social media platforms' policies, we're going to talk about it, right? So an interesting article was just released with Time Magazine, okay? The Time Magazine article is titled "The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election." I'm going to read that again. You can Google this. It's out there. You can read it on your own. You can do your own research. The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election. So I'm going to read just some parts of it because this is a long article, right? Too long to read here, but I will post it in the comments, and I'll post it on my website at ryanfsamuels.com where you could check it out. So here's a piece of it, right? This is the second paragraph of the article. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protest and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes. Left-wing activists and business titans for the 2020 election. Now, this gets super interesting, right? That's just the second paragraph, but this article gets very interesting and very concerning. So let's keep going. The pact was formalized in a terse, little-notice joint statement of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and AFL-CIO published on Election Day. both sides would come to see it as sort of an implicit bargain inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive, racial justice protests. So this conspiracy for the 2020 election, and elections in general, we'll get to that in a minute, was to prevent uprisings from the left. Okay? Let's keep going. The handshake between business and labor was just one component of a vast cross-partisan campaign to protect the election, an extraordinary shadow effort dedicated to winning the vote, but to ensuring it would be free and fair and credible and uncorrupt. For more than a year, a loosely organized coalition of operatives scrambled to shore up America's institutions as they came under simultaneous attack from a remorseless pandemic and an autocritically inclined president. Free and fair elections. Though much of this activity took place on the left, it was separate from the Biden campaign and crossed ideological lines. So it's saying it crossed ideological lines, but it's saying that it was a conspiracy between the left and big business. That's what it said in paragraph 1. Folks, look this up. Google it right now. Read it while I'm talking about it. This actually happened. This is posted on Time's website. This is an actual article. It was separate with crucial contributions by nonpartisan and conservative actors. The scenario, the shadow campaigners were desperate to stop what was not a Trump victory. The scenario the shadow campaigners were desperate to stop was not a Trump victory. It was an election so calamitous that no result could be discerned at all. A failure of the central act of democratic self-governance that has been a hallmark of America since its founding. Listen to this. Their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change voting systems and laws and help secure hundreds of millions in public and private funding. Read that again. Their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change voting systems and laws and help secure hundreds of millions of public, that's your money, that's tax money, and private funding, special interest groups. They fended off voter suppression. They fended off voter suppression lawsuits, recruited armies of poll workers, and got millions of people to vote by mail for the first time. They successfully pressured social media companies to take a harder line against disinformation and used data-driven strategies to fight viral smears. Oh, really? You used, and this is Time, and Time is not a right-wing company. Time is just telling the truth, it looks like. It looks like Time Magazine is just saying, hey, this is what happened. We are so brazen that nothing's going to happen for us interfering with the election process. We're going to publish how we did it. And what are you going to do about it? That's kind of what they're telling you here. They successfully pressured social media companies to take a harder line against disinformation and use data-driven strategies to fight viral smears, or, code word for opposing views. They executed national public awareness campaigns that helped Americans understand how the vote count would unfold over days or weeks, preventing Trump's conspiracy theories and false claims of victory from getting more traction. After Election Day, they monitored every pressure point to ensure that Trump could not overturn the result. The untold story of the elections is thousands of people of both parties, but before you said it was just the left and big business. Both parties who accomplished the triumph of American democracy at its very foundation, says Norm Eisen, a prominent lawyer and former Obama administration official who recruited Republicans and Democrats to the board of the Voter Protection Program. Voter Protection Program. That is a very interesting... hold on, this thing has fallen down on me. Voter Protection Program. That's an interesting take on that. Voter Protection Program. Let's scroll through here. For Trump and his allies were running their own campaign to spoil the election. So this article is saying that Donald Trump was attempting to overthrow the election, so they changed all these campaign laws to stop him before the election occurred. They changed all of these campaign laws, and they lobbied with public and private money to stop Trump's victory. The president spent months insisting that mail-in ballots were a Democratic plot and the election would be rigged. His benchmark at the state level sought to block their use, while his lawyers brought dozens of spurious suits to make this difficult to vote on intensification and GOP's legacies of Trump tactics. Every week, we felt like we were in a struggle to try to pull off this election without the country going through a real dangerous moment of unraveling. This is some scary stuff. That they're so brazen that they're out here admitting what they did. They're telling you exactly what they did to try to stop Donald Trump from winning and calling it a conspiracy. You done moving now? Okay. For those of you on the podcast, my mic stand is just dropping down and down and down and down. Hilarious. This is the inside story of the conspiracy to save the 2020 election. Based on access to the group's inner workings, never before seen documents and interviews with dozens of those involved from across the political spectrum. It is the story of an unprecedented, creative, and determined campaign whose success also reveals how close the nation came to disaster. How close the nation came to disaster. Would disaster be a second term for Donald Trump? Every attempt to interfere with the proper outcome of the election was defeated, or the outcome that they wanted, says Ian Basin, co-founder of Protect Democracy, a nonpartisan rule of law advocacy group. But it's massively important for the country to understand that it didn't happen accidentally. The system didn't work magically. Democracy is not self-executing. Democracy is not self-executing. You need big, powerful people in government to form a conspiracy to help you protect democracy. That's interesting. Listen to this. That's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told. Even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream, a well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules to the voting process and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. To steer media companies and control the flow of information. Is that not alarming to anybody? Working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, and steer media coverage and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election. Oh, no. No. These are the good guys. They had to stop Trump, the racist. They had to stop Donald Trump. They didn't rig the election. Democracy was at stake. They were not rigging the election. They were fortifying it. And they believe the public needs to understand the system's fragility in order to ensure that democracy in America endures. The fragility, I thought this was the most secure election in American history. Maybe the most secure for the Democrats, who were out there fighting to steer media coverage and influence social media companies to stop disinformation. The architect, this is the guy who started it all. Now, you tell me if this is biased or not when you find out about this clown. Sometime in the fall of 2019, Mike Podhorzer became convinced the election was headed for disaster and determined to protect it. Now, this guy's a far-left nutjob. He's a political strategist, okay? I want you to Google Mike Podhorzer, Podhorzer, and you tell me what you find if you think this guy is not biased. If you think this guy is all about protecting democracy, you tell me that. This was not his usual purview. For nearly a quarter century, Podhorzer's senior advisor to the president of the AFL and CIO, the nation's largest union federation. Are unions typically pro-Donald Trump? Are unions typically pro-conservative? The nation's largest union federation has marshaled the latest tactics and data to help its favored candidates win elections. Podhorzer has marshaled the latest tactics and data to help its favorite candidates win elections. Unassuming and professorial, he isn't the sort of galled political strategist who shows up on cable news among Democratic insiders. He's known as the wizard behind some of the biggest advances in political technology in recent decades. A group of liberal strategists he brought together in the early 2000s led the creation of the Analyst Institute, a secretive firm that implies scientific methods to political campaigns. He was also involved in the founding of Catalyst, the flagship progressive data company. So, why was there no red wave? I think that's a great question, and I think we know the answer. But unfortunately, in America today, even with quoting a Time magazine article, who is admitting there is a secret cabal tasked with helping the Democrats win the 2020 election, you can't still have an opinion on that on social media, which, of course, obviously I have no opinion. I'm just reading an article that was written by Time Magazine. A conspiracy, secret cabal who steered media coverage. So why was there no red wave? Every indication that could have been there, polls saying that 70% of United States citizens were unsure about the future of their country. 70%. Joe Biden, 41% approval rating. 9 points between half and half. Record high inflation. Record high inflation. The highest gas prices have been in forever. The highest inflation in 40 years. Every indication that there would be red wave and a splash. Why? Maybe this secret progressive group did something with this election. Am I saying it's fraud? No. Not saying that. That would be a violation of social media policy. That would be a violation of YouTube's policy. So I am not saying that. I am saying that it is extraordinarily concerning that Time Magazine is brazen enough to post an article admitting there was a conspiracy and a secret cabal who influenced and steered media coverage and influenced social media policies and changed laws in order to get the election result that they wanted. That is a serious issue. And I encourage all of you to go to Time and read that article. I made none of it up. This is Time Magazine. This is a far left-leaning magazine, which we all know. This is not some lunatic conspiracy theory website with no name. This is Time Magazine. Go read the article. I will post it in the comments the second I get off the air. Thank you all for tuning in. Look into that. We're going to see what happens with the red wave. Not all of the votes are in yet, right? We're still waiting on Arizona, who doesn't know how to count. We're still waiting on those results to come in, but it's looking like the House is ours. That's huge. Nancy Pelosi's fired. That's a great thing to happen. The Senate's up for debate. It looks like even if Herschel Walker wins, it's going to be a tie, and the tiebreaker vote is going to go to the vice president. But we'll see. Getting the House is a step in the right direction. Looking into who's influencing our elections should be a top priority for the new Red House. They should be looking into that. This is a problem. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is Ryan Samuels. This is the Ryan Samuels Show. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Facebook. Subscribe on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan F. Samuels. Leave your comments below, and I will get to them and answer them on the next live video. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Good night.